Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the new chapter, that is tissue. Chapter number 6, tissue. Okay. Now, as you know that in chapter number 5 you have learnt about cell. That cell is the structural and functional unit of life. That means all the living organisms are made up of cells. Living organisms are made up of cells. Now, these living organisms may be unicellular or multicellular. Secondly, multicellulars may be plants or animals and some other organisms also. But in this chapter we will go into detail of plant and animals tissues. Okay, so firstly, if we talk about unicellular organisms, you know that unicellulars are made up of only one cell. Means each and every function of the body is performed by the one cell only, like in amoeba. You know, amoeba is a single celled organism. Single cell. The function of digestion, intake of food, respiration, that is exchange of gases, transportation, excretion. Okay, excretion. Each and every basic function of life form is performed by the single cell. But in multicellulars, they are composed of many cells, and each of the cell is specialized for a particular function. Okay, so in multicellular organisms there is a division of labor, many cells. Okay, in multicellular organism, as they are made up of many cells and each kind of cell is specialized for a particular function, so we can say that in multicellulars there is a division of labor. Division of labor means, labor here means different life forms or life processes or different works. Okay, so different work of the body like digestion, respiration, excretion, transportation, each function is divided into some different group of cells, okay, which are specialized for that particular function. Like the cells associated with the digestive system, all are engaged in the digestion work. Okay, similarly the cells associated with the respiratory system are engaged in the work of respiration. So we can say that in multicellulars there are different cells and they are specialized for a particular function. That's why in multicellulars there is a division of labor. Means the cells having same function, similar, okay, similar structure and function, perform a similar function, perform a particular function, you can say particular function. So this group of similar cells, okay, which are responsible for a particular work, or you can say they perform a particular work together, particular work together is known as tissue. Like all the muscles of the body are involved in the movement of the body. Means all the muscle cells make a particular tissue, that is muscle tissue or muscular tissue. It is responsible for the body movements only. Okay, so this way we can say that group of similar cells which perform a particular work together is known as tissue. Okay, now in this chapter we will learn about the tissues in plants and animals. Okay. Now, do you think the tissues in plants and animals would be same? No, because you have already learned about differences between plant cell and animal cells. Okay. And secondly, why these tissues or cells in plants and animals are different? There are some reasons behind this. First reason is locomotion. You know, plants do not move. Okay, and animals they can move. As plants do not move, they need structural strength so that they can withstand the high speed wind or heavy rains also and any other circumstances. Okay, so plants need structural support or strength because they can't move. They have to be stronger. Okay, and that's why in plants most of the cells are, or most of the cells, or you can say a group of cells is tissue, most of the tissues are dead because they don't have to do any kind of work. Okay, just they have to provide the structural support which can be easily provided by dead cells also. That's why in plants most of the cells or tissues are dead, but in animals, as they have to move, they have to do various processes. Okay, most of the cells are living in animals. Okay, secondly, you know, there is a difference in the pattern of growth in plants and animal. Pattern of growth. In plants, there are only certain regions, certain or specified regions where reason where the growth occurs. Where growth occurs. Like the tips, root and shoot means stem, aerial part, and root tips. Secondly, the lateral sides means the width of the plant, and at the bases of nodes and internodes, at the bases of nodes and internodes. Nodes and internodes, you know already. Nodes and internodes are the points from where the branches and new leaves grow in the plant. Okay, so these are certain specified regions where the growth of the plant occur. It is not restricted for every part of the plant. But in animals, growth is uniform. Growth is uniform means growth is everywhere, each and every part of the animal body grows. Okay, so there is no any specified reason for the growth. Okay, that's why in plants the growing tissues are present only at these places where the growth occurs, but in animals every kind of tissue shows growth. Okay, so on the basis of this also we can say that tissues in plants and animals are different. Now today in this class we will go through the tissues in plants. In animals we will deal later on. Okay, so plant tissues. In plants also tissues can be, just a minute. So tissues in plants or plant tissue, as you have already discussed that in plants growth is specified for, just a minute, I think now it is visible. Okay, as you have already learned that in plants growth is restricted to some areas only where the growth occurs. These were root and shoot tips. The lateral sides means the girth of the plant, width of the plant, and the nodes and internodes. Okay, and rest at all the positions growth does not occur. So on the basis of the dividing capacity to dividing capacity, plant tissues are of two types. First is meristematic tissue. meristematic tissue. It is also known as growing tissue. Growing tissue. And another one is permanent tissue, which do not grow. Do not grow. Okay. So meristematic tissue is responsible for the growth of the plant body. Responsible for the growth of plant body. Okay. Now, as it is responsible for growth of the plant body, you can now tell me that where will this tissue be found in plant body? It will be found at the tips, in the lateral sides, and at the bases of nodes and internodes, because growth occurs only there. Okay, so on the basis of the position of this meristematic tissue, it is further divided into three parts. Okay, firstly I am drawing a diagram to show you the position of different kind of meristematic tissue. See, this is the shoot. Okay, and this one is the tip, apex. Okay, the uppermost or the shoot tip. Tips are also known as apex. Okay, so the meristematic tissue will be present here for the growth of lengthwise growth. In sideways growth means to increase the girth, to increase the width, this way. Okay, this is lateral sides. Okay, and like there is, it is a branch. Okay, so at this position some growing tissues are present which help in the growth of this branch at this node. Okay, such tissues are known as intercalary tissue. Okay, so on the basis of the position of the meristematic tissue, meristematic tissues are three types. The tissues which are present at the tips or apex, it may be a shoot tips or it may be a root tip also, means at the tip of the root. These are known as apical meristematic tissue, apical or apical meristematic tissue, because these tissues are present at the apexes, at the growing tips, at the shoot tips and root tips. The tissue which is responsible for the width, growth of the width, okay, for the girth, the shoot girth, okay, is known as lateral meristematic tissue, because it is responsible for lateral growth, lateral meristematic tissue. And the third one is intercalary tissue, which is present at nodes and internodes, and it is responsible for the growth of branches and leaves. Okay, just revise it. Apical meristem, it is present at the shoot and root tips, and it is responsible for the length of the plant, for the growth of length. Lateral meristematic tissue, it is responsible for lateral growth, means the growth of the width, okay, increase in the width of the plant. And third part is intercalary tissue, which is present at the nodes and internodes, and it is responsible for the growth of branches in the plant. Okay, now the properties of meristematic tissue. As you know that these are the growing tissues, means these are responsible for the growth. So the cells in these tissues are the most active ones, because they are continuously divide. You have learned in the fifth chapter, that is cell, the last topic was cell division, where you have learned that cells divide for the growth and development of the body. So the meristematic tissue which are responsible for growth, they continuously divide for the growth. That's why they are active. Okay, and as they are active, they need much more energy. That's why they have dense cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is very much dense, which provide high amount of energy for the work. The cell wall, which provides the structural support. These cells do not need any kind of structural support because these are responsible for the growth only. They are not involved in the strength part. Okay, that's why the cell wall is made up of thin layer of cellulose. Much thick layer of cellulose is not needed here. Okay, so these are the properties of meristematic tissue. These are the three kind of meristematic tissues. Now one question arises, what happens to the meristem? Like, just assume some cells were here at the apex. These cells will divide for the growth and they will spread in the upper growth. It will increase in length and the newly formed cells will shift here. Now these cells are not at the tip. Now the tip has become this part. Okay, and the cells which are here will divide further for the growth. Now the previous cells which were here, now they have lost their ability to grow because now they are not present at the apex part, they are not present at the tip. So now these cells will lose their ability to grow, lose their ability to grow. Now what will happen to these kind of tissue, okay, which lose their ability to grow? These kind of meristematic tissue will be converted into permanent tissue. So we can say that when the meristematic tissue lose their ability to grow and attain a particular specific function, they get converted into permanent tissue. This process is known as differentiation. Differentiation. So what is the definition of differentiation? Differentiation is the process of conversion of meristematic tissue into permanent tissue when the meristematic tissue cells lose their ability to grow and attain a specific function. This process is known as differentiation. I will give you in notes the definition of differentiation also. Okay, so this is all for today, and in next class we will deal with the permanent tissues. Thank you, children.